you'll all be familiar with the Sage 200 screens and the sort of standard layouts and everything else. As I've mentioned, you might have some different columns to me or whatever else. So the first and the simplest things to note is that Sage have now added a field in for your own EORI number, which is down here. You do have to apply for that, as I'm sure you're all aware, and we have sent some information out about the Sage Brexit Hub, and there's some great information on there as to how to get that registration if you haven't already done that. That can then be added to the varying layouts you want, and obviously there's things like commercial invoices which you may require now, which aren't in the system necessarily, but I'll cover a little bit more on that later. But going to the basics of it, the real key information, obviously that's the EORI number. Within your stock items, so if I go to my stock list, you may have seen some of the fields that are in here before. Just wait for it to wake up. But you already have commodity code. In the later versions, there's a 10-digit commodity code. And the country of origin field, although it's there in a lot of the older versions, so anything pre-summer 2019 won't have this functionality. Summer 2019 came out, I think it was September 2019. You can now select the country code as well. So you will need that information for some of your reporting. We can assist you potentially in scripting that information in, or you can go through manually and amend it as you need to or you wish. Entirely up to you. So there, like a couple of the sort of brief improvements. What I have done in my system, and you may wish to do in yours, is within the sales ledger accounts, I've added an analysis code in to give you the EORI number. And again, going back to the commercial invoices, a lot of freight companies, the likes of DHL and FedEx, are asking for a commercial invoice to be sent with the goods, and that needs to declare that EORI number. Now, we do have a template we've made that we can put in place for you. It is a chargeable exercise, but there's a fairly basic one in it, and it's not expensive. Also, you can have a custom one created for you if you wish, but it will include the information such as that. They're sort of the key parts that are in place for Brexit. Obviously, as I've mentioned, there is going to be a change of tax codes, and mine's been set up. Here's one we made earlier, as according to Brian. So I've now got varying different tax codes that I can add in to do with deferred VAT. Brian, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can. Brian, would you like to take control, please, and show everybody the VAT functionality for me? Because I think that's going to be one of the key parts for most people.
Okay. The key thing has to do with postponed VAT. So in the past, when goods were imported, you were due to pay VAT as soon as they came into country, and now that's been postponed. It's on for at least 6 months. We don't know more about that. So using postponed VAT, I don't know how you organise it with the shippers, but literally you don't have to pay the initial VAT up front, and you don't have to claim it back at the end of the next quarter. It's just like a normal transaction. However, the government like having information, so they've asked for that to be reflected within the VAT return. And you'll now see in front of you 3 new codes. Sage have set it up so they can add 16, 18 and 19 nearly automatically. The the key thing here is number 18 and 19. Instead of the information appearing in boxes 2, 4, 7 and 9, as they do up to the 31st of December for normal import or standard rated imports, the information now goes into box 1, 4 and 7. Why? Don't know. These are just one of those things. In addition, you'll see number 19, there is no £15 get out of jail anymore. So if you imported something for less than £15, it just got straight through, nothing happened at all. That has been increased to £135. It is VATable, and HMRC want to know what's going on, so they've created this new VAT code. Let's go and have a look at what the differences are. So come out of there. Right. As Sentley said, this is example data. What we have done is, if I look at number 2, we've put on a transaction under the old rules. And as you can see, VAT code 8, £200. And that appears in box 2. We'll go to box 4. Go down the list. There's the other one. And it's in box 7. You can see that there. And box 9. We've also put on an import under the new rules. And as you can see, it's in box 1. Under 18. Box 4. And box 7. So it's quite fundamental if you're importing goods in. My advice is you need to upgrade to 2020 R. I think it's R2. Most of you will be doing VAT returns to December 2020, which is under the old rules. So there's not a problem there. In reality, with your next quarter, you're going to, unless you upgrade immediately, which is in the real world not going to happen. If you upgrade over the next 3 months, what you can do is you can still use VAT code 8, so the numbers come in, and then when you actually do the return, use the VAT adjustment facility to move the numbers around, so you can take it out of 2 and 9 and then put them into box 1. And not nice, not messy. Well, it is messy, but it will give you what you want. Over to you, Sentley.
Thanks, Brian. That's very, very helpful of you. And Brian put that a lot more eloquently than I ever could, because he understands a lot more about the wonderful, full intricacies of VAT than I ever do. So I'll just close that. So in essence, folks, that's sort of a summary of what's in the software to help you and to ensure your sort of compliance with the latest version.